Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Um, I know this will be a little bit of a different style of video, so just bear with me here. I'm just trying something a little bit different. Um, but I have recently found some very interesting news. Um, as you can see from the background gameplay, this is related to Code Vein. And we got news quite recently that Code Vein 2 is coming out next year. Um and I know it's like really early on um for like an announcement like that sort of thing. But I've been waiting for a sequel of some kind to Code Vein honestly since the game came out, to be honest. In 2019, it was like September, December or something of 2019, something like that. But 6 years, and just out of nowhere we just get an announcement, um which is really intriguing to me. No build up, no nothing, just announcement. um and to my knowledge, the announcement on the actual Code Vein 1 Steam page came a few days after the Steam page for Code Vein 2 went up, as well as a few days after the trailers, the different language trailers, the different regions and stuff. All those trailers, they're all the same trailer. Sadly, we didn't, see anything really super new across different trailers. Sorry about the sudden jump there, everyone. Had to take care of something real quick. Um, where was I? Um, oh, right. The trailers. Um, to my knowledge, there's not anything really different between the different trailers, for the different regions or anything. Um, but just out of nowhere like that, no warning or anything, beforehand. Just all of a sudden, Code Vein 2 pops up on Steam. Um, and like 4 days later, I think, the announcement on the Code Vein 1 page was made. So let's go over here. Here's the Code Vein 2 page. And we're just going to do a quick review of the page. Go over everything that we know so far. I have already watched the trailer and everything. But we'll go ahead and go over these screenshots. Kind of see um what we can of the game, even though it is still in a fairly early stage. And I actually figured out about the announcement of Code Vein 2 through a random Facebook post to the Code Vein group. I think it was from the director of the game, but I could be wrong. But so far, the visuals are definitely like the most updated thing, outside of maybe new weapon sets. Like, this looks like a fairly standard katana type weapon, but a character with a rapier. The Rapier, to my knowledge, wasn't anywhere in Code Vein 1, so maybe we're getting new weapon types, which would be really cool. I'd love to see more weapons in the game that have a more diverse moveset. So that'll be really interesting. This looks like the bog standard Blood Veil. That, you know, just the claw. But from the trailer, it looks like there's a completely different animation. Maybe I don't know if it was for a parry or for a drain attack. There's still like the red eye glow, but it seems the color scheme has also shifted to a more yellow orange sort of a color scheme, which is very odd to me because of how deep they leaned into the red, black, and white sort of color scheme. So I'm interested to see like how different the game looks thematically with this sort of weird yellow orangish color scheme. The supporting character here seems to be quite a bit more confident than Io. But visually speaking, a very similar sort of cathedral-esque look on like the headband, like with the engravings and everything. And then you get down to here and her chest cavity is open with a yellow orangish glowing heart. And same for the main character on the back of his blood veil here, or the back of his coat anyway. It's a similar thing, the red glowing heart. It's like a open cavity, but his is like covered by like some sort of viewing glass or something. From the trailer and the screenshots, I'm really hoping that we don't have just a set main character, and that we have the character customization that we had in Code Vein 1. Because I feel like if the sequel here were to get rid of that character creation, it would not be very well received. Because the character creation, for me at least, is part of what made Code Vein 1 more unique in its style, because you could essentially make the character you wanted instead of just being stuck to a character. There was another game that I played that didn't have a character creation. That I don't remember what it was called. Played it like a couple years ago. But having a set character in a sequel of a game that had a character creator would just seem like an odd choice to me. But design-wise, I'm really liking the sort of more flowy visuals and theming here. More industrial look on the background here, but like the clothing is very a lot of curve. Some points here. Similar thing to Code Vein 1, kind of like thorns essentially. And then you get to the main character's coat and there's not really quite as much of that aesthetic on him. So I really hope that we'll have a sort of transmog system as well to be able to make our character look exactly how we want, regardless of like what blood veil we're using essentially. Maybe they could do a sort of transmog system, like, I don't know what to compare it to, but essentially, like, if I use like a Thorn type Blood Veil, maybe make it so the transmog system is like one Thorn type Veil can be turned into another, aesthetically. Maybe you don't have to just, maybe you don't have to implement something where, you, like, if you're using a Thorn type, versus a Claw type, that they could, like, transmog into each other for, looks. Because that, I feel like that would be a little weird. But some sort of system to be able to change our character's actual, like, weapon and Blood Veil, looks would be really awesome. And again, the character creator thing, I really hope they don't stray away from that. That would feel really, really weird, and I would definitely be quite disappointed without a character creator. So... Oh, whoops. So, it looks like our supporting character is going to be able to use a shield and a rapier combo, which is odd. Not something I've quite really ever seen before outside of maybe FromSoft games like Dark Souls or Elden Ring. So that's very weird. I wish we could get a closer look at the shield. Kind of see what sort of design elements they're going for with the weaponry a little bit closer. I'd also like to get a closer look at the actual, like, model for the supporting character here, because these legs here look more... they look similar to kind of the upper chest here, aesthetically. Like, it looks like that's a hollow cavity right there. But it's really hard to tell. Also, enemy design here. Our first look at an enemy in the screenshots is this right here. I'm assuming this will be some sort of boss. Maybe like a recurring boss or something. Not entirely sure. But the bell appears to have, like, art growing around it, which is cool, but why? But the design itself, it seems very Japanese art inspired, like old style Japanese art. Which I absolutely love that old style art. So that's points from me. Not that that's really anything huge. But, like, just in my opinion, I'm loving the sort of eldritch design that this enemy has. I feel like it's like something out of Bloodborne. It's like a mixture of Bloodborne and Sekiro, which is just absolutely... I love that sort of thing. FromSoft games are some of my favorite games, especially Bloodborne being my favorite FromSoft game. And I actually picked up Sekiro very recently. Haven't made it too far in the game, but I'm absolutely loving it. So, maybe be ready for a Sekiro video at some point. But, loving the sort of, like, eldritch Japanese look to the enemy here, with, like, the crescent moon or whatever this, like, spiral is around there. I love this. So here's a little bit of a better look at the character, the main character that was made for the trailer, at least, or for promotional stuff. And we also get a little bit of a closer look at the weapon that he's seen using in all these screenshots in the trailer. It's definitely a very Japanese design. katana. It's kind of more like a basic ornamental katana from what I can tell. From the guard here and the sort of like Damascus-esque look to the blade. But it's very flowy, very like wind-like. I wish we could get a little bit of a better look at the handle, but this might be this is a different weapon here. This looks more like a long sword. So it does appear that our character will be able to presumably use more than one weapon at a time. Just like the first game, maybe 2 weapons. Just like the first game, maybe we'll be able to use 3 weapons or something. If we could get a bigger variety of weapons with different movesets that could shake things up and maybe be able to equip 3 weapons, I feel like that would be able to, combination-wise, I think that'd be really interesting. And I'd love to see something like that. But back to the character here, we can see that they've still kind of got the sort of red, black, and white theming going on. The armor design itself, especially around the legs, looks very, very well done. It looks like, you know, they took elements from some of the other games that they've released that are in a more, not realistic, but a more similar setting to those realistic games. And taken some of those design elements and brought it into this sort of, look. I love the background here as well. I have no idea what this is up here, but that looks cool as hell. And we could see a Lost here. This looks like a common Lost from Code Vein 1 back here, but this Lost right here, not entirely sure. This could be one of the new enemy type. Because I know there's supposed to be new enemies. That go by an entirely different name, by the way. So it's not like they're a section of the Lost, from what I can tell. I think they say it down here. Let's see here. Maybe they don't. Yeah, I didn't see anything there. I could be wrong. We'll go through and read these in a minute or so. But let's keep going through the last 2 screenshots here. Also, this looks like the replacement for the resting spots, the missiles. Essentially the bonfires of Code Vein. If you're unfamiliar with Code Vein, think of it like a cross between anime, Bloodborne, and Dark Souls. So, these kind of look like the lamps or bonfires from Bloodborne and Dark Souls. So these will definitely be different. I don't know how they're gonna change the missile system for discovering the map. But I hope it does. I hope the map design is a little bit better from the Cathedral of Blood. If you're familiar with Code Vein, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The best aesthetically looking place in the game, but also the worst to explore. Everything looks the same, and it's a maze. Map design from Code Vein 1 wasn't the best. But I still love the game nonetheless. There looks like there's some sort of beacon back here as well. So I wonder what that's about, although it could just be not what I wanted. It could just be overhang from all of this stuff up here. But it looks like it's coming up from the ground, so I don't know. This is more like a beam of light coming off, so yes, I'm assuming this is sort of the missile or bonfire replacement for this game. Let's go to the screenshot 6. This appears to be another boss. It's very... I don't remember the boss's name. It's been a while since I played Code Vein all the way through. It's very royal. So it appears that this, I want to say enemy, also has the sort of open chest cavity with the heart right there. A much more ornamental look on the armor, especially like with the pauldrons here. The greaves we can't really see, but like it's definitely more Dark Souls-esque. Like a cross between Ornstein and Smo and Pinwheel, which is very weird to me. The mask has a lot of really like small details. And I can't really tell what is supposed to be here. I'm assuming it's some sort of like lion's mouth or something. But there appears to be a more emphasis on the sort of blue and the sort of yellow colors this go around. You can see there's actually sigil on this, on his like drapes. I'm assuming it's some sort of flag with the sigil on it. But the weapon is very like clockwork-esque, kind of like a steampunk sort of thing, maybe. I love the clockwork look with it though. So I'm interested to kind of see how this pans out, whether it's some sort of fight or whether he might be like a weird, like corrupted ally sort of thing. You can see his left hand here is covered with actual armor on the hands, while he's got more like a beastly right hand. Same for his shoulder here. You can see like the armor's sort of broken. So I'm interested to see what they do with this. Also love the sort of galaxy look on the inside here. So let's move on to the last screenshot. Ooh, okay. So this reminds me a lot of the Queenslayer memory area. It's very industrialized, but it doesn't appear to be destroyed. So this might take place before the collapse. I'm interested to see whether the story itself will take place after the collapse or not. I'm assuming it'll take place after the collapse. We'll go over this stuff in a minute, though. The area is very, like, Final Fantasy VII-esque to me, for some reason. So I'm curious to see kind of what they're gonna do with this. But speaking of, like, before or after collapse, or maybe even during, that'd be pretty cool. Get some story during the collapse. But, let's just read the description here real quick. An epic adventure awaits where you and your chosen partners explore a vast world, face fierce battles against powerful enemies, and uncover an epic story that transcends time. So, from the trailer and from the screenshots of, like, the different areas being more ruined, more ruinous areas, kind of like that screenshot right there, and then the older industrialized, newish look on the last screenshot there. It seems to be that we're going to be playing with time. And while having a time mechanic would be cool, I don't think it should be a mechanic more than a story tool, essentially. Like, yeah, it would be cool to have a sort of mechanic like that, but at the same time, I feel like, at least if they use the same sort of controls that Code Vein 1 had, unless it's like some sort of item that lets you cross between different times, like the present and the past. We'll get to that in a minute. But unless it's like some sort of item, kind of like your health flasks or stuff like that, I don't think it would flow very well combat-wise to kind of go between different times on demand rather than for story purposes. Maybe doing something like the Queenslayer memory section of Code Vein 1, where it's like 2 separate areas that you can go to. Essentially, I think that would probably be a better system. Like, sort of dive into the memories, or into the past in this case. We'll see what happens. I'm curious to see what happens and how it's implemented and everything. From the trailer, it looks like the combat is gonna flow differently. More also traversal. Apparently we're getting a motorcycle. So, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm curious to see how they actually implement the time mechanic stuff, and whether it's actually going to be a mechanic or more of a story tool. So we'll see what happens. Let's go ahead and move on to the About section. About this game: in a future world where humans and revenants coexist, so I'm assuming this will be much further into the future than Code Vein 1. But that's just me. Also right here, due to the sudden appearance of the Luna Rapicus?
Luna Rapacis.
I don't know if it's said in the trailer. I honestly wasn't listening to the monologue in the trailer or the narration, because I was more intrigued to see what sort of gameplay they had included with it. But revenants have transformed into mindless monsters called horrors. So are they not the Lost anymore, or could they transform into either the Lost, or the Lost after a certain amount of time maybe transform into the Lunar Rapicus? So I don't know. As a Revenant Hunter, the player shall halt the world's inevitable collapse by traveling to the past with a girl called Lou, who possesses the power to manipulate time. Okay. So as a Revenant Hunter, I'm assuming the character that we're playing as is a Revenant. So it's a little weird to me that a Revenant would be hunting other Revenants. Unless it's maybe like some sort of police force sort of thing, where Revenants police Revenants. I don't know. We'll see what happens, I suppose. But what I'm more interested is the companion, Lou. I'm assuming it's pronounced Lou. Bandai Namco's weird with their naming. But time manipulation. So Maybe during combat she'll be able to slow time as one of her abilities or something. I'm not entirely sure. I'd love to see what they're gonna do with that. So, let's continue reading here. An epic adventure awaits where you and your chosen partners explore a vast world, face fierce battles against powerful enemies, and uncover an epic story that transcends time. And that's the game description, of course. So let's go over the first point here. A Tale Across Time. Embark on a journey that spans both the present and the past as you search for clues to prevent the world's destruction. Alter the fates of key revenant characters you encounter in the past while uncovering lost histories and the hidden truths of the world. So I'm wondering if during these past sections, if we'll be encountering characters from Code Vein 1 and essentially changing their story to essentially become the story of those characters that are already established. Maybe this character's the reason why some of the events in their lives happened or something. I don't know. But I'm curious to see sort of what characters we're gonna encounter. Are we gonna encounter the protagonist from Code Vein 1? The Queenslayer, I think, is the character's title. Not entirely sure 100%. But I'm curious to see like what sort of characters we'll encounter. Are we gonna encounter Louis, Yakumo, Mia, perhaps the Queen, or Silva maybe too? So I'm curious to see what sort of characters are introduced as new characters, and what characters are introduced from Code Vein 1 as well. Maybe we'll get characters from the lore that we didn't get to see in game, like referenced characters or something. I don't know. So intense and satisfying combat. Dive into it. English. Dive into adrenaline-fueled battles, where reading enemy moves and mastering your arsenal are key to survival. Unleash powerful skills, adapt on the fly, and conquer relentless foes in fights that deliver both intensity and triumph. So I'm assuming the combat system is going to be similar, if not like very nearly the same, with some minor or even some major additions rather than changes to the flow of combat. I'm hoping that the actual combat itself flows better, especially like with attack animations. The attack animations seemed kind of disjointed from my experience, but that could just also be me. But some of the actual attack animations, especially on the katana moveset, seem very disjointed. Maybe that's not quite the right word for it, but they seem kind of like individual attacks were recorded, and there wasn't sort of like any sort of in-between animation for them. So delaying an attack kind of feels weird, and it looks odd. It looks very forced, essentially. But I'm also to see what sort of like powers our character will be able to have, if we're gonna have any returning blood codes or anything, which actually goes into the next point here. Unique battle system. Experience Code Vein 2's unique gameplay mechanic where the player drains and acquires blood from enemies to unleash a variety of skills. With the series' new build system, you can freely customize weapons and skills to suit your own battle styles. So I'm interested to see what sort of blood codes will be in the game, if we're gonna have any returning blood codes or not. It'll be very interesting to see. The new build system. I'm curious to see what they do with the new build system. Are they gonna have something more similar to FromSoft's formula with the Dark Souls series and Elden Ring? and Bloodborne, like those sort of build systems. Where it's like Code Vein 1's upgrade sort of system. Gather materials, upgrade your weapons, but instead of just increasing level overall, we'll be increasing the level of individual stats. And if so, if they're going to a more FromSoft-esque system where you're increasing individual stats, what sort of battle system are we gonna have? How are the enemies gonna scale? So I'm interested to see that. And also customization. Freely customize weapons and skills to suit your own metal cells. How deep is the weapon customization gonna be? Is it gonna be similar to Code Vein 1's like upgrade system? Where you can transform your weapon and upgrade it to +10, or is it gonna be like, are we gonna be able to change our weapon skills? Maybe like make changes to the moveset of a specific weapon that we have equipped. Maybe even just change looks and change the skills of our character's blood code like we did in Code Vein 1, you know, acquiring skills and such. So I'm interested to see what they do with that. I'm hoping it's similar to Code Vein 1's system of leveling and whatnot, because it was very simple, very easy to understand, but still had quite a bit of customizability for the sort of build that you wanted to go with. And last point, powerful partner characters explore the world with trusted and powerful allies who can fight alongside you and enhance your abilities. Each partner brings unique abilities and deep connections that shape your journey. So I'm wondering if, again, any characters are going to return from Code Vein 1 to assist our protagonist. If we're going to get any sort of appearance from the first game's protagonist, and maybe confirm the canon ending of Code Vein 1. As of right now, the widely accepted true ending is I think it's the Dweller in the Dark. I called the Dweller in the Dark or something. Curious to see what they do with that. And also, if we do get an appearance from our Code Vein 1 protagonist, I'm wondering if you have Code Vein 1, if they will allow you to bring over your original character model or your original character's customization and everything, like how they look and whatnot, if they'll bring that over into Code Vein 2 to kind of give you a little bit more of an immersive experience, or if we're gonna be able to maybe customize our character with data from Code Vein 1, so we can kind of continue the story as our original character, in essence. I'm interested, and I'm quite hopeful, but we are, of course, still quite a ways off. We don't have a specific release date of any kind. At least not at the moment. We just know some point in time in 2026 the game will release. I'm hoping they release earlier in the year, but I'm not exactly hopeful. I'm sure they're gonna try to stagger their release a ways off of GTA 6. Then again, GTA 6 could also just get delayed again. Everyone knows that fucking meme by now. How many delays of GTA 6 are we gonna have before it releases? Or the fucking memes about we got this before GTA 6. But yeah, I'm curious to see everyone's reaction. to the upcoming Code Vein game. Hopefully, people will be able to get some sort of early access or a sort of press release of the game. And see what sort of gameplay we're gonna have. Maybe we'll get some sort of early access. Maybe we'll get some sort of press release. Maybe some sort of beta. I'm not entirely sure. I hope that there will be co-op, like there was in Code Vein 1. Maybe a little bit more polished. But yeah, if y'all enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe. And as always, have a good one.